Hello and welcome to the next episode of Build Your Own R2D2. We're going to be looking at issues 22 and 23 in this video, but the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that my issue 22 is wrecked. It must have dropped out the car when I picked it up, and the next morning I found it in my work car park, and it obviously has been water damage and it's fallen apart and things like that. But it has got me thinking, when I've used these magazines for the instructions, I don't read them. There's so much information in these magazines and they're just going to waste. I just stored them and I never look at them again. And it's the same for the Millennium Falcon. I have all the magazines in their folders and I'm never going to read them again. I really genuinely won't. So I think that's a bit of a shame that they're just going to waste. So I have decided I'm going to sell all the magazines. I'm going to sell them all at 75 pence. 50p sounded a little too cheap and £1 sounded a little too expensive, so 75p per magazine. If you just want the magazines, that is the offer for you. There is so much information. So in the R2D2 you get kind of, you know, looking behind the characters, including all the films and the extended universe as well, a little bit about the robotics, things like that. And with the Millennium Falcon, you get more details on spacecraft and again, looking behind the films and the extended universe. With the Millennium Falcon ones, I am also giving away all the folders. That is included in the price. And as there is 100 magazines, that's obviously £75 for all the magazines, including the 5 binders. Now, the issue with this is that the parcel weighs about 4 kilograms. So the postage is going to be quite high. So for the UK, I'm selling it for £100. For all the EU countries, I am selling it for £125, and then further abroad like Australia and the States, it's £150. But all those magazines could be yours, all that Star Wars information could be yours. It's not the actual build itself, it is just the magazines, but I thought one of you out there might want it, so that's why I'm offering it. Same with R2D2, 75 pence a magazine. Obviously my issue 22 is wrecked, so you've got to bear that in mind, but all the others are in good condition, and I have one binder as well to sell. If you just want the binder, I'll sell it at £5, but if you just want the magazines, it's 75 pence a magazine. And we'll talk about postage when you say you want it, depending on where you are, where you live, etc. We'll talk about the postage then. Now, if you do want these, feel free to email me at chris.falcon@writeme.com. That is a new email address I've set up just for the channel so that you can contact me directly. I'm selling a tire on the Back to the Future videos as well. So if you still want that, please write to me, because that has not yet been sold. So any information about sales that I do, or if you want to contact me directly, my email address is chris.falcon@writeme.com, and I hope to hear from you, and I hope that I can give the magazines kind of what they deserve, and you can gain a lot of information when you read them. But moving on to the build today. Issue 22, as you can see, has got more light up features, and issue 23 is more parts of the dome. So I am going to start with the dome parts at issue 23. I'm going to get them out of the packet and attach them to the dome we've already done. And here we have the next part of the dome all installed. Now it does have a little gap, but I guess that's okay, because it will all be covered at some point. I'm getting a bit sick of saying the same old thing. It will all be covered with a nice big metal dome outer casing at some point. And there's only one more piece left to do on this dome, and then when that piece is installed, I guess that is when we attach this bottom metal layer here. But of course we can't do that at the moment because we've still got one more piece left outstanding, which we'll look at next time. So that is what the dome looks like at the end of issue 23. So here are the parts we get in issue 22, and as you can see there are more LED light up displays on offer here, and it is very easy to put together. The first thing you do is you take off this protective film of the LED. If I can find out where the corner is. It does state very clearly that you take off the peel away the protective film from the LCD screen, but I cannot find it on mine. Is anyone else having that issue? I cannot find the protective film. So for the moment, I'm just going to leave it, and I can always take this part apart later on if I have to. But then you just put it together like that, and you get this protective part here, and you put it in there like that, so that the little connector part peeks through that hole there. And then of course you have all the screw holes lined up ready to be fixed, which I'm just going to do now. Those pieces go in very nicely. You do have to apply some force to get it through this black layer, and then this film layer here, and then this silver layer here. But yeah, it does go together very nicely, and this is what it looks like when it's all done. Now, if you're like me and worried that they got the color wrong because it's all silver and not blue like it is in the photos and like it is on R2D2, don't worry, there is going to be a blue covering for it. The silver is just for the outline parts that you see there, which obviously are very prominent and they stick out like that. So just to show it off, I'm just going to bring back my battery pack and tester button. You just plug it in exactly the same way as you have done before. And let's test it. First, let's test it with the red button pressed. Very nice indeed. Quite dim colours. Oh, actually, no, they're not dim. Sorry, I'm just used to kind of blues and reds, but these are actually blues and whites. But yeah, looking very nice. And then press it with the blue. And that is actually a faded version, like we saw before. The blue creates faded, and the red one creates quite bright colours. But yeah, looks very nice. Twinkling away there. Very, very nice to have another electric part rather than more dome or leg parts. So I'm very happy with what we get in issue 22 and what we get actually in issue 23, because it does mean that the end is in sight for this dome, because, you know, another part has been added on just there. So that is the end of this video. Don't forget that I do have all my magazines for the Millennium Falcon and for R2D2 for sale. I am not selling the Back to the Future ones because I actually do enjoy reading those magazines. I've wanted to know more about the making of the Back to the Future films for a long time, so that magazine series is one I'm going to keep. But the R2D2 magazines and the Falcon magazines are yours for the keeping. Just send me an email, chris.falcon@writeme.com, and they can be yours. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Next week is of course Back to the Future, and then in 2 weeks time more motorized parts, I believe, of R2D2. So I hope you join me then. Until then guys, take care, bye bye.